Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel, or in this case, welcome to my review of Inside Out 2. I recently watched the movie and I guys, I really loved it, and I just want to talk about it. So without further ado, as per usual, this video is littered and suffocated with spoilers, although I will try to make this particular discussion a little bit more abbreviated than my previous ones. But without further ado, please get yourself a snack, get yourself comfortable, and let's begin.
Orange? Who made the console orange?
Do I look orange?
I didn't touch it.
Orange is not my color.
Not me. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, I am just such a huge fan of yours, and now here I am meeting you face to face. Okay, how can I help? I can take notes, get coffee, manage your calendar, walk your dog, carry your things, watch you sleep.
Wow, you have a lot of energy. Maybe you could just stay in one place?
Anything. Just call my name and I'm here for you.
Okay, love that. And what was your name again?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can get ahead of myself. I'm anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions, and we are just super jazzed to be here. Where can I put my stuff?
Okay, so the sequel begins around 2 years after young Riley's move to San Francisco, continuing from the narrative of the first film. So, at 13 years old, Riley stands at the cusp of high school, representing, chapter 2 of sorts of the Western adolescent experience. You get what I'm trying to say. Her personified emotions, joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust, have since overseen a newly formed element of Riley's mind called her sense of self. This entity is like an instantiation of all of her memories, as represented, remember, by those glass baubles, and the associated feelings with those memories as represented by the distinct polychromatic tones that stain these glass baubles. If you've watched the first film, you know what I'm talking about. Now, as per the expected narrative formula, the established conditions for familiarity and general comfortability are shaken. We witness the unwelcome interposition of 4 new emotions. We've got anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui. The most pertinent to the plot, especially when more explicitly defining our distinct protagonistic and antagonistic entities, is, of course, anxiety. Anxiety is the proposed villain of this story, in the same way in the first film that joy was the proposed villain in antagonism to sadness. So as anxiety grows in her control of Riley's persona, in, like I said, antagonism to joy, who had already established herself as Riley's dominant emotion, joy is vitiated and Riley becomes progressively unstable. Once Riley enters puberty, this entity, right, her sense of self, is threatened as she is confronted with a new system of social expectations to acclimatize to, not as a toddler, not as a prepubescent, but as a teenager. The system that I'm sure we all are familiar with and that I'm speaking to hypothetically requires a harder and more mature set of beliefs. One that anxiety, our new character, aspires to establish within Riley at whatever cost necessary, which means the old emotions need to be expelled, and expelled they are, and quite unceremoniously.
You just aren't what she needs anymore, Joy.
How dare you, madam?
You can't just bottle us up!
Oh, that's a great idea. It's not forever. It's just until Riley makes varsity, or until she turns 18, or maybe forever. I don't know. We'll have to see.
What I appreciated a lot about this film, as I did with the last, was the humor. Although obviously marketed towards a younger audience, the humor isn't slapstick. It isn't absurdly farcical or remnant of the traditional, pie-in-the-face joke we all found quite laughable as children, and now, as adults find quite exhausting. And this was actually one of the issues I found with Frozen 2. I think what often happens, and this is just my theory, is when both the humor and the overall message is explicitly one-dimensional, while palatable to a child's mind, the adult often craves more stratifications to what an idea, a thought, or a visual might mean. There is a lot of potential in language, and I believe that the film exploited those potentials quite intelligently, or at least with appreciable intention. And so, I really liked the humor in this film. Anxiety, though, like joy, isn't in all respects absolutely villainous, and that's what I find so fascinating about the character. And I think the idea, at least what I think that the filmmakers were kind of trying to get at here, is that fundamentally, without concern for whatever potential, good or bad, that the future might beckon, one has no motivation to plan against it or in exploitation of those possibilities. Being blissfully unconcerned serves the child, not the adult. And so this emotion, anxiety, is deterministic of most of our motivation and planning competencies. This is another thing I find also quite interesting is that anxiety makes most of our plans a lot more intricate and a lot more advanced. And we see this in contrast to Joy's solutions to, all the problems that are thrown at them within the film, actually both the first and second film, being overly simplistic, naive, and buttressed by the hope that, everything will be okay in the end. And then we've got anxiety, right? She's so sensitive to the dishonesty of that reality that her actions to protect Riley from it both galvanize and cripple her. This, I think, is the mechanism of self-consciousness and many a manifestation of chronic anxiety. You are just too aware, so aware of everything that you are that it overwhelms you, but never overwhelmed enough to become dead into it. It's like it both paralyzes and stimulates you at the same time. It's anxiety is a different type of hell, you guys. It's so overwhelming, so powerful, but it really is just so torturous. Interestingly, but obviously not surprisingly, it is what characterizes many a personality that is industrious, conscientious, the perfectionist type personality traits. I mean, Riley's at the top of her class. She wants to make her parents proud, and she wants to be the best at everything she does. Again, completely unsurprising, but very, at least to me, relatable. It is the most interesting, and I think, if we're being honest, easiest type of protagonist to build a story against. I would personally like to see a story, a media interpretation that builds a story against a character that is a bit more complacent, a little bit more introverted, just because I feel like those personalities are a little bit more common in, I guess, my generation, in the modern age. But this isn't about that. This is about Riley. And true to what we understand growing up, as Joy's influence diminishes, so too does Riley's naivety. Anxiety severs and disposes of Riley's sense of self in earnest construction of a new one. We see Riley's behavior shift in antagonism to the original set of principles and beliefs that the first set of emotions had established and hardened within, Riley's nervous system all up until this point in time, her being 13, her being a teenager. Riley is overly concerned with popularity, she neglects her friends, she becomes difficult to deal with. Anxiety is, completely shocked to see that despite her pure intentions, she has caused Riley's sense of self to devolve into an entity of self-doubt.
I need to fit in. It helps sometimes.
Disney often diminishes the importance of a parental guide. And in a situation like this, you need the adult who instilled those invaluable principles in you to teach you how to reorient yourself, to remind you of who you are again, and the meaning you hold beyond popularity, beyond academics, beyond achievements, etc. During puberty, such a volatile and sensitive time, you need mature anchoring, more than ever as you seek to find yourself. You don't resolve these complex feelings, or especially, if you're having a panic attack for the first time, know exactly the strategies to temper yourself, to bring yourself back down to earth emotionally, just out of pure intuition. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is that this isn't a skill that hits you out of thin air. And while, I can obviously forgive this film because of the target audience, it is often the absence of certain mature guidance to these complex feelings that leads to anxiety within a teenager becoming chronic. My issue is that how Riley dealt with this, especially since it was her first time encountering such severely unfamiliar psychological territory, it just wasn't something I could personally find realistic. Self-consciousness actually creates a certain type of villainy because your anxiety makes you so overly sensitive to every hypothetical that would, could, might eventually hurt you. And I'm glad, obviously, that Riley was able to, pull herself out of that. Because a lot of children don't. And they grow up to become these insufferable adults who are always perpetually victims of the hypothetical. But that's just me. Those are just my opinions on the film. I really did, though, honestly enjoy this film. I also enjoyed the first one. I think I'm going to rewatch it. You please be sure to take care of yourself. I hope to see you next time. Have a lovely rest of your day.